to have economic development requires institutions, relatively robust institutions. And those institutions depend very much on social dynamics. So if you're a place like Botswana, pretty cohesive country, also the most successful country in Africa, arguably. I mean, people could talk about Mauritius and other options, depends how we define. I mean, I'm talking about continental Africa. And so why is Botswana successful? First, it was pretty cohesive when it was, it's an accident of colonialism that the borders drew a pretty cohesive group. It's not completely cohesive. There are some groups that are marginalized, but it's cohesive. And then it was able to adopt the institutions that were formal institutions that were left. But because they were cohesive, they're able to come to a consensus about the way forward. They're able to decide what institutions, I mean, whether it's just built on history or others that they decide, they can decide that those are ours. They can take ownership. The country is theirs, and they're able to build up and they're able to manage. So we talk about a natural resource curse. For me, it's a I don't want to use the term, it's a lack of cohesion curse. If you're a cohesive country, you have no problems managing natural resources. If you're a country that's fragile, you have a lot of problems managing natural resources for the population. Either a few elites benefit or it becomes a source of conflict. So in answer to your question, I would say the risk of violence is very much a product of this underlying resilience in society. And the resilience is based upon either having very cohesive society. Somaliland in 91, if you look at the pictures, Hargeisa was bombed. The people were tremendously poor, high stress situation. That did not prevent them from coming together. Look at the East Asian countries that have thrived or succeeded. They all are built on long histories, pretty cohesive institutions. Some of them are imported and were owned a lot, but the informal institutions are really, the cultural dynamics are really just built on their own histories with obviously some adaptation to modernization or other needs. And they thrive. The countries, the developing countries that have thrived the most are countries that are not fragile. You can almost divide all the developing countries on a continuum from being very fragile to being very cohesive with good institutions. And the closer you are to being very fragile, the more of a problem you have. So I would say your security challenge and your economic challenge, and let's putting aside commodities exports, I would say very much depends upon how cohesive and what types of institutions. But again, in most cases, the countries have to start with the cohesion because they don't have institutions. And they can only build institutions based upon their cohesion. There are some exceptions.